Just when you think this build can't get any more crazier, and how much more can a person really do with the 300ZX to make it more badass? A lot more. There's so many more things that you could do. Today we got something so awesome that's been a long time coming as well. More new parts for the VG30 300ZX platform. Today I'm going to introduce you to possibly one of the best clutches that are on the market right now for the 300ZX and drivetrain setups in general. Right now is really an interesting time to own a 300ZX Z32, especially if you plan on keeping and working with the original VG30, because there have been so many improvements lately to these motors and the car in general. Now today, if you haven't already figured out, we're going to be installing some of the best drivetrain components you can get for a street car, and that includes the Tremec T56 Magnum XL. I purchased mine from Bowler Transmissions, I think I pronounced that right, and the McLeod RXT 1200 clutch, as well as the Merlin machining adapter plate and parts for this swap. This McLeod clutch is really something special. If you haven't seen lately, I highly suggest you go watch Granis Racing's RXT 1200 clutch review. Now, these Tremec T56 Magnum XLs have been used in just about every stick shift car that has set a world record in any H-pattern car. But I have here a completely stock factory T56 Magnum XL, which should be more than enough for the setup that I have going into this, because a 3-liter twin turbo V6 making 900 to 1000 horsepower isn't going to have the same kind of torque that a 2000 horsepower V8 or 2JZ is going to have. Now, based on everything I've read about this particular setup, I even went ahead and got the Tilton hydraulic release bearing just to make things more seamless and more easy. Now, this setup has been done hundreds of times. I even got the Tilton hydraulic release bearing just to make it as seamless and simple as possible, because it's just copy and paste onto a different motor, different car. Now, this clutch in particular is very well known for holding a lot of power, but also driving like a stock clutch. Because it's a twin disc clutch, there's more friction material compared to a single disc clutch. So because of that, you can keep it at a lighter pressure on the pressure plate, which makes the clutch pedal feel way less stiff as compared to a high performance single disc clutch, which would make driving the car way easier. So stick around, follow closely, because this isn't going to be something that you'll see every day, especially something that will drive so nice. Now, will the factory 5-speed transmission hold up to the kind of power I'm putting down? Yes. But will it do it reliably? Not so much. I don't think so anyways. I was already having transmission problems at 800 horsepower, and it wasn't so much that the transmission was popping out of gear. I did have a little bit of grinding going on, but it was just I had to baby it into gear. I had a lot of whining going on whenever I got on it in the car. The first 2 gears, it sounded like a dog box transmission when you're just trying to roll through a parking lot. So it didn't sound that great either. Okay, so engine is finally in its place where I can set up the flywheel and clutch. This engine hoist and engine stand that I use to roll it around on is not really optimal for this, because these legs are not wide enough to go around those legs. So I kind of have to jack up one thing or the other to slide the hoist on far enough to elevate the engine, which turns out to be a bit of a project each time I have to do it. But what are you gonna do, you know? But let's get this pilot bearing out and get the new one in. There are a couple different ways you can do it. You can either use the bread method, which I will probably end up using because I have bread, not so much grease, or the grease method. So with the grease method or the bread method, either one really, you just pack it down in there until there's enough in there and that squeezes right out. I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out and we'll be back. Okay, well, sorry guys, my battery died on the camera, so I didn't get the recording of this going in. But anyways, pilot bushing is in. if you notice, this one actually sits on the outer lip of the crankshaft, whereas the factory one sits on the inner lip of the crankshaft. There's not really too much of a difference. This one does have a little bit of a protrusion. I think it's about 6 millimeters or 5 millimeters or so. Not that big of a deal, but don't be alarmed. It's normal. It's just how it's supposed to be with the new transmission going in. Anyways, carrying on. Let's get the flywheel and mount that thing up here. All right, next up. Oh, God, this thing is heavy. Got the clutch. McLeod RXT 1200, 1000 horsepower capable clutch, probably 1200 horsepower capable. I don't know. We'll find out when we get there. All I know is I'm not going to be pushing that much. It's a very well-known clutch in the domestic community with the LSs and the Coyotes. Now, a few things to note is this marking right here needs to line up when it goes back together. The bolts all go back in place exactly how they came out. Basically, we are disassembling it and reassembling it just as it comes apart. So with that said, I will also be looking at the directions quite often to try to figure out how it goes back together and torque sequence and so on and so forth. We really don't want to get anything flip-flopped or turned around or mixed up or anything like that. If I'm being completely honest here, I've never actually torn apart a twin disc clutch before. So this will be my first time too. So again, this one's labeled bottom for the bottom clutch disc and flywheel side. Again, spline count facing outwards. There we have it. So this here is gonna go onto the motor and we're basically gonna cross our fingers that everything else fits and lines up. So let's see what happens. Okay, so for the first clutch disc going on, we got flywheel side, it's labeled, and then this is it says on this side bottom, but don't be alarmed because that's saying it's the bottom of the clutch looking at it from the top. Got that on there. Now need to line up the blue mark with this blue mark, which on my flywheel it's over here. So very important, don't mess that up. Okay guys, that's pretty much gonna do it for the McLeod RXT 1200 clutch install. So for today, we will be installing the Merlin machining adapter housing as well as the Tilton hydraulic release bearing in preparation for the T56 transmission install. The T56 is going into the car with this, and with that we have to take measurements for the clutch hydraulic release bearing so that we can set clearances accordingly for this particular clutch and the fingers that are on it. I'll explain all that here in a minute once we actually get started on it. By the way, don't be like me and forget stupid shit like this because it sucks. I decided instead of removing my flywheel clutch and all that stuff, I went ahead and chopped it off because honestly, I wasn't using it before, but with this nice new clutch setup, being a twin disc and all, and a beautiful T56, I'm gonna actually install this time to keep as much debris out as possible. Man, you guys, this is This is almost surreal, you know, like I've been waiting so long for this. This is going to be one of a kind, and I'm excited to be doing it, and I'm happy to be sharing this journey with you guys, because this is almost surreal right now. I think one day I'd really love to do a drag week with this car. But anyways, let's get the hydraulic release bearing set on here and get all that ready to go. Okay, step one for the Tilton hydraulic release bearing. You got the sleeve, which goes on, and you line it up with the holes that are on the back side of that. It's a very tight fit, shouldn't have any problem with that. And then you tighten some nuts down on it. I'm gonna go ahead and put some thread locker on these so they don't back out. Don't gotta worry about that. Really don't wanna worry about that. That would be very bad. Okay, so after doing some more measurements on the clutch to faceplate measurement, typically you want a 125 thousandths of an inch clearance between the throwout bearing and the clutch pressure plate fingers. This will allow for the clutch wear over time. Let's screw this on to here, like so. Once I get this on far enough, I'll grab my dial caliper and start taking measurements from here to the face of this. Okay guys, it's been about a day or two. I've been doing a lot of thinking, and I want to revisit the measuring on this because honestly I don't want to get it right. Now, the clearance on the Tilton website said for it to be about 0.125 inches, which comes out to roughly 3 millimeters and some change. Now I start thinking about it, and I probably shouldn't be going off of what the hydraulic release bearing site says. I really need to be going off of what the clutch site says. So I went on to the clutch website, McLeod Racing, and pulled up the instruction manual for their clutch, and it says anywhere from 0.1 inches to 0.25 inches. Now that's a much bigger gap than what the Tilton hydraulic release bearing says, and while yes, this says, you know, it needs to be 0.125 inches, it never said higher or lower. It just said 0.125 inches. Very important here because you're doing this clearancing for the clutch, not the hydraulic release bearing. Now the hydraulic release bearing does have a limit, and you should follow that limit, but also pay attention to what the clutch manufacturer says. So with that said, I don't want to be any less than 0.1 inches, and I don't want to be any more than 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to try to get it as close to 0.125 inches as possible. So we have a difference of about 80.3 millimeters and 76.5 millimeters, which puts us at right about 2.8 millimeters difference, which is pretty much perfect in my opinion, because we want the clearance according to the clutch manufacturer between 2.5 and 6 millimeters, and we want the clearance according to the hydraulic release bearing 0.125 inches, which is roughly 3.17 millimeters. So that leaves us at 2.8 to 3.0 millimeters of clearance, which is pretty much perfect. I'm gonna leave it at that. I am happy with that. Now, a few more important notes here if you decide to do like I did and order the pieces individually, which again, I don't even know if you can, but if for any reason you find yourself having to order hydraulic release bearing for a twin disc clutch, now the hydraulic release bearing front has to match the fingers on the pressure plate. So if you look at the clutch, the fingertips are curved right here. When I do the measurement, I am getting the very tip of the pressure plate finger. So if you see how it's curved upwards, I'm getting the most outward point of the finger, not the tip of it over here, but the outward point of it up here. Not sure if that makes much sense, but basically I'm getting this tip, not this tip. If for any reason you have to order these parts individually, make sure that your hydraulic release bearing has a flat face to it for the curved fingers. If you have flat fingers, you can use a curved hydraulic release bearing. Just a few little extra pointers if you decide to go about doing this yourself like I have. Again, I don't really suggest it because this is way more work. Granted, you will need to do the hydraulic release bearing clearance no matter what. If you're running a T56 and you have a hydraulic release bearing, you will have to do this eventually yourself anyways, so it's something important and a must know. If you order the entire kit from Merlin, you don't need to go about sourcing your own clutch, sourcing your own hydraulic release bearing like I have. It's all there, it's all in a kit, it gets shipped to you. You still have to put in the work to assemble it and put it together, but you're not trying to figure out little things left and right. If you're at all curious in how to get one of these McLeod RT1200 clutches, honestly, your best bet would be to just message Merlin. He's aware that these clutches are available, and he can probably get you in and get you a kit from McLeod as well. But if for any reason you want to do this all on your own, you can message Lisa Kubo at McLeod Clutches. Just tell her that blonde dude sent you. Alright you guys, that should do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed this one. Again, this is kind of more of a how-to. It wasn't anything crazy fancy. There's nothing, you know, exciting on this. I mean, it was really exciting for me because I got to see the clutch and transmission out of the packaging for a change. Also, if you're at all interested in the entire kit, which I would suggest doing, and you want this clutch, message Merlin Machining. I'm sure he'd be more than happy to get you one of these with the entire kit. Next up, engine's going in the car, transmission's going in the car, because I gotta get measurements for the drive shaft and shifter location. So that's gonna be pretty exciting. I'm probably gonna end up doing that today actually. But if you want to follow along, make sure you're subscribed so you get the little notifications when I post the next video and all that fun stuff. Do the thing. Just do the thing, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see y'all next time.